Hope that you've had a great Sunday. It's been cooler. Told you it was going to get cooler, and it certainly did. It got much cooler today. Did you feel a chill in there? Like it was one of those chills that felt like, wait a minute, we're not done with winter. Not yet, even though the time changed. By the way, if you're watching me right now, the time on your clocks should be just like mine, 6:55 p.m. In fact, it just changed to 6:56 p.m. Central Daylight Time. We are now in Central Daylight Time. Hopefully you set your clocks ahead 1 hour and know the time change, and we've got, hey, it's not dark yet. It's almost dark, but I can look out here and I can still see a little bit of twilight there. So, yeah, at least we have that going for us, and the days, getting longer. That also helps. But we're getting into the time of the year when we're going to have to consider the possibility of severe weather. Even though severe weather happens anytime, as we always say around here, it's always severe weather season. We're going to have to keep our eyes on what's coming Tuesday, Wednesday. Yeah, that's what I'm going to talk about tonight. Because the weather right now is fine. We've had a beautiful day. It started out cloudy, made it all the way to 60 today. That was it. 60. Yeah, big difference from yesterday, right? 3 degrees above the average of 57. I told you all week long on News 40 that we were going to do a hard reset this weekend. And so, yeah, it's happened. I mean, from Friday to yesterday to today, it's been like a big time drop. So 60 was it for the high today here at the airport. Only 3 degrees above the normal of 57. And then our low was 51. So not a big difference in temperature. But let's get to it. Let's look at the changes that are coming. This is what's on the way. Now, this is what we're looking at for, as you see here, day 2 of any severe weather in the region. And this is not severe weather. This is just your general thunderstorm risk. And this is going to be more for tomorrow afternoon into tomorrow evening. Not much of anything going on, although there will be some thunderstorms that do pop up tomorrow afternoon and evening. The better chance of severe weather is going to be much further south of us. This is for tomorrow evening into early Tuesday. You got a level 1 here, marginal risk from Memphis to Florence, in one of those great towns I like to go to all the time, Muscle Shoals, Huntsville, Birmingham, Tuscaloosa, Montgomery, all the way down to Dothan, Alabama, Hattiesburg, Mississippi, all the way over to Shreveport, and then circling back up around Hot Springs to Memphis. In the center of that is a level 2 slight risk, and that includes places like Hot Springs, Arkansas, Pine Bluff, Monroe, Louisiana, Jackson, Mississippi, Meridian, Laurel, somewhat in there, and over toward western Alabama. Again, this is not for tonight. This is for tomorrow evening, tomorrow afternoon and evening into Tuesday morning. But let's go to day 3. This is now going to take in, this is what I was showing you last night. And for those of you who saw my social media post this morning, this is where the action begins to get very, very dicey and potentially dangerous. As we've seen over the course of the weekend, anywhere from Michigan all the way down to Oklahoma. There have been a number of tornadoes and unfortunately a lot of fatalities, sometimes in some unexpected places. So here is an enhanced risk that's a level 3 southwest of Chicago through northern and central Illinois into northeastern Missouri. This is going to be for Tuesday into Wednesday. Well, let's put it this way. Most of Tuesday is involved in this risk area. It will take in a little bit of Tuesday evening into early Wednesday, but for the most part, this is going to be an all-day Tuesday event. Surrounding that level 3, big level 2 slight risk area that you can see there, Fort Wayne, Chicago, Kansas City, St. Louis, even down to Little Rock, Tulsa, Wichita, Fort Worth, Dallas, Waco, and all the way down to the Texas coastline, or the Rio Grande anyway. So this is going to be on Tuesday. Notice that the level 1 does take in anywhere from Bowling Green west. So pretty much Interstate 65 and to the west. Level 1, marginal risk. In other words, the timing of this next cold front coming in is going to be spending a lot of energy out where you see the higher risk levels back to the west, back to the northwest, and then everything is going to start to come our way, move east, as we get into Tuesday evening and early Wednesday. But we're not out of the woods. This is just day 3. Let me go to day 4, which is right there. Now, by tomorrow, since this will be in day 3 mode tomorrow, we will be looking, this is Wednesday, we will be looking at a level 2 slight risk. Right now, it's just listed as a 15% any severe weather risk. Any severe weather, hail, damaging wind, flooding, tornado, quite possibly. I'm a little more tuned in to this potential risk than I have been the last few. The one that came in Saturday, I was like, this doesn't look like it's going to be that big of a deal for us. This one has all the makings of becoming something that could be a big deal. Could be. It's still, 3.5 days away from us. And this is one to watch. Normally, I stay away from, any kind of overconfidence with these systems. You know me, I try to stay on the low end of things. I try not to raise too much of a red flag unless it's necessary. I'm not saying it's necessary right now, but this system coming in for Tuesday night into Wednesday bears watching closely. This one could have enough lift, have enough moisture, have enough veering winds, vertical wind profiles going crazy at all different altitudes. Bottom line, strong low-level jet winds, and then the winds start to change direction and height and speed as they go up. Dew points running into the 60s, high temperatures maybe getting close to 80. It has all the ingredients. All the ingredients are there. The instability is going to be there. Wind fields are going to be there. Moisture is going to be there. This is one to watch. I'm just putting it there. I'm not going to say that there's going to be something big going on with this. It's too soon to say that. But let's just say it has caught my attention, and, from all the years that I've been covering these things, this one looks like one to where we're going to have to really, really watch how it develops over the next couple of days. Now, we'll get a better fix on this tomorrow. And certainly as we get into the day Tuesday, most of the severe weather will be going on to the west of us. But as we get into Tuesday, we'll start to get into the particulars, the details of how all of this is going to start to unfold. And it may look like after, tomorrow night into Tuesday, when we start looking at things, it may not look like it's that big of a deal. And then we'll just kind of tame things down, bring it down. But right now, I want us to be keenly aware of what's coming. This is like a heads up that we could be looking at something that we really need to pay attention to. This could be one of those little sneaky systems that looks like it might not be that big of a deal at first, but then it could potentially do something that we all need to be aware of and be prepared for. This is why I say this, 2.5, 3 days away. This is the time to prepare. And if it doesn't come out that way, if it doesn't look like it's going to be a big deal, then you've prepared for the next time. I had somebody read me the Riot Act today, and you may have seen it on social media. It's like, it never turns out. You guys just, bloviate and hype and all this kind of stuff. And and then you guys are using like European model. Who cares about a European? This is clearly somebody who doesn't understand, and you're welcome to just get off my Facebook page, dude. Really. It's like, I don't come onto your page and tell you, what a goofball you are. So I'm just like, really? I'm supposed to just sit back and take that. Like, okay. I just fired back at the guy in a nice way, I thought. It's like, but what if you're wrong? What if you're wrong? What are you going to do if you're wrong? If you say it's not going to be a big deal and I'm just blowing this up, then, all right, go out and do what you need to do. Don't worry about anybody else's safety at all, since you're worried more about yourself than anybody else. Okay. I apparently am not here to serve you. You're here to just raise a stink. That's the best way I can look at it. It's just, I'm really, sometimes I'm like, it's like this evening. I'm dealing with several things that you don't know about going on in the background. And I'm okay, but it's just, there are several little things here that's got me just, when everything just gets like right there, it's like you have a bad day, things don't go the right way, and every little thing just gets you to right there. You know what I mean? You've been there. Things get you right there. And I have to just look to God and say, God, give me patience. Help me breathe. Let me just, I know you've been there. Listen, if anything, I'm going to tell it to you just as it is. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to dance around the issue. I'm not going to, well, maybe I shouldn't say that. I'm not going to do that. This is my podcast. I'm going to say what I feel. And if somebody doesn't like it, they can not watch. They cannot watch. They can go and bug somebody else. That's the way I see it. It's America. It's a free country. You can do what you want, but don't come on here and start just starting trouble. And that's what you're trying to do. So we're all going to pray that these storms that are coming in for Tuesday and Wednesday are not going to be that bad. We'll just have to wait and see because we got to give it time to, as I say, bake. They got to bake in the oven, so we got to see what's going on with that. All right. I am going to move on because if I don't, something's, yeah, well, you just don't want to see it. I know. Look, I know somebody's like, well, Chris Allen, I thought you were just such a nice guy. You would really? Well, I mean, I'm not supposed to have any kind of emotion. I'm not supposed to get worked up about something. I mean, this may be a new side that some of you haven't seen from me before, but doggone it, I'm in my 60s now. And for those of you that are in your 60s or 70s, you know that you get to that point in your life, it's like, you know what? I'm just not going to put up with that anymore. All my life, I've had to be nice and be quiet and be like, oh, isn't that sweet? And then inside, you're just boiling. And you're like, you know you're going to explode. Now, I've kept it where I haven't exploded. I haven't exploded. I'm not going to do that. I do have limits, believe it or not. But sometimes some people just, poke the bear one too many times. And it's like, oh, just one more. Right? I know. Hey, even Jesus went into the temple and turned the tables over. Somebody wants to tell me, well, you're not acting like Jesus. Jesus wouldn't. Oh, really? Really? What Bible are you reading? I read where he got onto the money changers in the temple and said, this is a house of God. It's not a place of selling things. And he turned that table over and the money went flying all over the place. And he told them to get out. Yes, he was in the flesh at that point, but he was still Jesus Christ. And he said, that's enough. Now, if you want to go toe-to-toe with me on the Bible and the Word of God, we can go there too. You'll lose. All right. Here's a look. Isn't that crazy? I know, my wife's over here laughing. She's the one that keeps me like, Chris. Okay. All right. I'm bringing it down. Let's get to it. Here's a look at current temperatures right now. I think it's funny. Current temperatures right now from the Kentucky Mesonet at 714, 50s everywhere you look. We barely made 60 for a high today, although some of you, like Morgantown, you got to 63. Beaver Dam, Muhlenberg County, I'm sorry, Beaver Dam's up here, 62. Hartford, Beaver Dam. This is Muhlenberg County, Central City, Greenville, 62, your high. But even east of us, like Columbia, Adair County, made it up to 63 today. But we started this morning with temperatures in the upper 40s and low 50s. How about winds? Winds today have been more from the south and southwest, even though they've had a cooler component to them because we had a cold front that came through yesterday and early this morning. That's why it started out cloudy this morning. And some of you out east of us early overnight last night had a couple of hundredths of an inch of rain, not much. And it was mostly east of Bowling Green over into central and southeastern Kentucky. Yeah, that's where a lot of it was. Okay, now let's move ahead and go to the maps, because the maps are going to help tell the story about what's coming next. And here we go. All right. Looking into Kentucky, it's been a while since we've seen Kentucky this clean and clear, but there it is. High pressure, there's the front out east of us. And we're starting now already to get more of a southwesterly wind. That's key because it is going to help us warm starting tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to get right back into the mid 70s. After only hitting 60 today, we're going to be in the mid 70s tomorrow. That warm air, one of the components that we need for this next event that we're going to look at for Tuesday and Wednesday. So, warm air, then eventually moisture, then eventually lift, then eventually winds, shear, all that. Let's go forward. Here's 1 a.m. tomorrow morning. There could be a little patchy fog here and there. High pressure over eastern Kentucky. So skies will stay clear overnight tonight. And we'll get down into the mid 40s. Here we go into Monday morning. High pressure moves into West Virginia. There may be a little more in the way of patchy fog. Depending on how calm the winds get tonight, yeah, it's possible. Even though it doesn't show it that much here in southern Kentucky, I still think that we could see some areas of fog, okay? Here we go, 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. I keep forgetting they set everything an hour ahead because we're now in daylight time, central daylight time. So instead of showing noon, they're showing 1 o'clock tomorrow. And here are the tighter winds already beginning to come together. Isobars, equal lines of pressure coming closer together, which means the winds are going to pick up tomorrow. And they are from the south at, say, 10 to 15. And that's going to help us warm into the mid 70s. But look at this. This is the front that just came through. And it's south of us, but then it is blocked by this high pressure, which is over the Florida Peninsula. Well, that high pressure is going to keep that front from going south. More importantly, it's going to help erode that front. And there you see it falling apart. Got high pressure to the south, and we got high pressure to the north. So both of those stronger than this front, and it's going to just make that front fall apart by midday tomorrow. But before that happens, high pressure is also, since the winds go clockwise around high pressure, it's going to dig into the Gulf and bring that moisture up into our area. Here's your first area. I showed you this right at the very beginning. This is the severe weather red zone for tomorrow. You get into parts of Louisiana, southeastern Arkansas, and much of central Mississippi. That's where the better setup is going to be, but some of the rain then will start to move in with those southwesterly flow from the Gulf. Is going to move that moisture into our area by 7 o'clock or even before that tomorrow evening. Late tomorrow afternoon, we'll begin to get a few showers here, and there possibly could be a rumble of thunder, but we're not expecting any severe weather tomorrow afternoon or evening. Just some rain showers around the periphery of that high pressure. Here we go into 1 a.m. Tuesday. Let me put the fronts back on. It just did an update. See it loading there. Come on. Thank you. All right, let's get up to that point. So here is 7 o'clock tomorrow evening, some showers in the area. Now we go to 7 a.m. Tuesday. We start to see the showers sort of taper off a little bit. But out in the plains, in this area, we've got a trough, low pressure systems riding along a front to the north. It's almost like a parade of trains along a track. And there's the main frontal boundary. We will have little impulses like this one coming through the plains that can touch off even more in the way of possible severe weather as we head into Tuesday evening. And look at this. Here's the energy now getting cranked up and throwing out a lot of Gulf moisture out ahead of the system. This is that big area that I showed you at the very beginning of the podcast that has that severe weather threat. Heavy rain. Heavy rain is also going to be a problem. There may be some flooding in these areas that pick up the heaviest of rain. This is Tuesday evening. We will have a shower, maybe a thunderstorm, but the really stronger, heavier stuff is going to stay west of us into Tuesday evening. Now, there may be, entering into western Kentucky Tuesday night, a couple of stronger storms, gusty winds, lightning, maybe some hail that we'll have to keep an eye on. Here's 7 a.m. Wednesday, and now we're looking at it's our turn. So this is where I showed you that once we get into Wednesday, it's looking like a two-parter. We've seen this happen before. You guys have been with me several times before when we've had this setup where you get an impulse of showers and thunderstorms in the morning, like during the morning, then those quit. The sun comes back out during the day, and then the second wave of thunderstorms comes in that afternoon and that evening, and those are the ones that could be severe. Because by then, the cold front, this cold front right here, will be right next to us. It will move in and try to bring the severe weather our direction. That's what I'm concerned about. If we get that daytime heating, that lull between the morning Wednesday and Wednesday afternoon and evening before the front, that's when you can pretty much safely say that we're going to get something severe. All that sun coming through, heating up an already unstable atmosphere and just making it worse. Let's hope that doesn't happen. That's why I said at the beginning, it might not happen. But these are one of those systems that when you look at it and when you study it, and I've looked at the maps, I've looked at the charts, I've looked at the models, I've looked at all these, and I'm thinking, you know what? This one kind of has my attention. I'll just leave it like that. It has my attention. The last one, no. And that's why you didn't see me I didn't get worked up about it because it was just nothing. And it turned out to be nothing. This one could be something. Not a guarantee. Let's go into Thursday morning. It's all gone. And I know some on social media are already talking about this. Well, look, it's going to snow on Thursday. Well, wait just a minute now before you get into, oh, look at all that snow. Somebody might see a snowflake, and that's about it. Snow like we had about a month ago? No. This is going to be fly-by flurries, and mostly in central and eastern Kentucky. The way it looks, some moisture will still be left over behind the front, and as the colder air, and you can see that colder air coming in around this high pressure, winds will be coming in from the north, letting you know that technically it's still winter. It's not spring yet. Not for a few more days. But anyway, yeah. Thursday, somebody could be waking up in parts of Kentucky, central and eastern Kentucky, to some snowflakes right there. But again, not a big deal. But it is going to get colder, but it's not going to stay colder. Here we go into Friday. And look, high pressure quickly moves east over the Carolinas. And look, the winds automatically shift from the southwest. So for those places that see the snowflakes, they'll see them for a few hours and then it's over. And now we start to warm up once again. We're getting to that point to where any kind of shots of cold air are just not going to last. The days are getting longer. The way the systems are moving through is a little different now. And it's just whatever tries to turn cold is not going to stay cold. So you may get a chill for a day or so, kind of like we did today, but it's not going to stay that way. So this is Friday. Then into Saturday, here comes another cold front, but this time the moisture is cut off. I mean, the front's going to come through on Saturday, but we're not going to cool down any. It's more of a zonal flow, what we call a zonal flow, west to east. And usually we don't cool down when that happens. We just kind of let a front come through, and that's it. And then by this next Sunday, a week from today, here comes another system with more rain. Now, if you've been watching me on News 40 or even this podcast, you know that I've been showing you that temperatures stay pretty much above normal and precipitation stays above normal. In fact, let's go back and look. I want to go back to this. Let me show you the days ahead, what is being forecast. Temperature. The next 6 to 10 days does show a trend. This is picking up on what's coming. Does show a trend of cooler air, which counts today, but it also counts for what's coming after Tuesday, Wednesday, when we cool down. But then let's go day 8 to 14. Let's go 2 weeks out. And here you see equal chances of either or. We're going to be right where we should be. In fact, normal. Not too cool, not too warm. But notice the warm air is going to make a comeback in three to 4 weeks. We're right back into the above normal on temperature. Okay? So while we're in a cooler trend right now, we're going to go and warm up again. Now, how about precipitation? Well, here we go. Let me find it. First of all, there it is. Okay. Above normal precipitation, days 6 through 10. 2 weeks out, we see drier than normal. 3 to 4 weeks out, and we go back to above normal. So where you just by those two graphics, temperature and precipitation, we can see the trend is going to flex. We're going to have ebbs and flows, ebbs and flows. Why is that? Because it's winter going to spring. Simply, there's no complicated issue here or reason. It's winter going to spring. And in this transition, things like that are going to happen. It's just the way it is. All right, let's go on to the model that guy I was telling you about earlier. What are you doing using a European model? We're not European. But you go with what's most accurate. Now, I can tell you that there is an overall shift, and it's not just me. There's an overall shift from the old GFS, Global Forecast System, and any of those American models which have just not kept up with time. That's just putting it out there. Some of the American models have just not been as reliable as this. Now, what if I was to say, you know what? I'm going to blow off all the models, forecast models, and I'm just going to go with AI. I'm just going to use artificial intelligence and let it do all the thinking for me. Hell no. I could do that, but I'm not doing it. I'm doing it the way I've been taught. Again, this is the time that we live in, folks. I'm trying to keep it as real as possible. Sometimes that's hard. But here we are. Are you hearing that? It sounds like thunder. Kids upstairs? Great. During my podcast, kids upstairs. Let me add that to the list. Okay, here we are. Right now, look at how much of the nation is under a ridge, and the warm air, the really cold air is staying to the north. Here are showers that are departing, moving out, and here is our warm air that's going to be with us again tomorrow. Look at the flow. Nice and warm. But look at these tighter lines here. Look at how tight the lines are getting. That means it's going to be breezy tomorrow and warm, which will be nice. But you need that warm, breezy air. You have to have these winds with the warm air, with the higher dew points, like in the 60s, to get us into that really humid atmosphere that next cold front's going to have to feed off of to produce some of those nasty thunderstorms. Okay? So this is Monday morning. Let's go Monday afternoon. And we start to see here, south of us, Gulf moisture, as you can see there, being drawn in. We also have a piece of energy, this low pressure system, coming off of the Baja of California. And it's helping push that energy eastward while it meets up with Gulf moisture. Yes, all of that is just kind of converging, or will, over our part of the country. Just give it a little time. Now here we go into Monday afternoon and evening. We could see a few showers, although the European model isn't quite convinced that we'll see much activity tomorrow evening here. But see, it does have a little bit right there. Now we're getting into late Monday into early Tuesday. Wind fields are strong. Gulf moisture is starting to push in again. Here comes our piece of energy. Here's the low pressure system now over the plains. Not that strong yet, but it'll get stronger as it moves through time. And here we go. Look at it getting stronger. It just went from 1,000 millibar to 996, getting stronger as it moves into the plains. It's helping feed all of this strong wind and moisture content right here, where the best severe weather setup is going to be for Tuesday. And it's going to be a big area. Here we go into Tuesday evening, into early Wednesday, and now it's our turn. And look, the low gets stronger. 997 millibars. Okay? It's getting deeper. It's getting stronger. The cold front looks like, I'm trying to look at all the lines here, it looks like it's about right there. And then following, not quite right behind the front, but following it a few hundred miles west is the colder air. And you see it right there. This is Wednesday morning to midday. Wednesday afternoon, here it comes. Now you saw some showers right there in the morning, right here. Okay? And then my concern is in between Wednesday morning, right there, and Wednesday afternoon and evening, right there. Look at that. That's what I was explaining to you at the very beginning. If we have a setup, and we've seen it happen many, many times, you get thunderstorms in the morning, then they leave, the sun comes out, destabilizing the atmosphere. It's a relaunch. It's a ramping up of all that soupy, warm, humid air like you feel in the summertime. And that is going to be the fuel for those storms to refire just ahead of the cold front, which will come in Wednesday evening. This right here is my concern. Now, if I see something changing from this between now and then, I'll let you know. I'm not telling you to be necessarily concerned, or certainly I don't want you to be scared. I want you to be prepared. Just be prepared that once we get into Wednesday afternoon and evening, especially, depending on the timing of this, we may have to really be on guard for something severe. It's very possible. It's a classic setup. You got your low pressure system up here in the Great Lakes. Look at the colder air. It's being drawn in back behind it and pushing this big trough, big plunge of cold air. Now it's going to get cooler here, not colder necessarily. It's not going to get cold like 30 degrees during the day. It's not going to do that. It's just going to get much cooler than what you've been used to, especially over the last several days. But this is when we're watching right here, Wednesday afternoon and evening, for what happens. Let's go into Thursday. Here comes the cool air and the trough. And yes, there's a little, as you see, little bit of snow. Tries to work into parts of eastern Kentucky. But again, it's going to be fly-by flakes, not much more. And then it's gone. Thursday afternoon. It's going to be a chilly day on Thursday. I'm looking at maybe around 50. Could get cooler. But it's not going to get cold. It will up here in the Great Lakes, New England, places like that, but not us in Kentucky. Then we go into Friday, and look, let me back it up. See it? Colder or cooler air, then into Friday. Boom, it's gone. Why? Because high pressure right there over Georgia is bringing back the warm southwesterly flow, and it's going to be breezy. Look at all these tight lines right here. Boom, 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 boom. All those tight lines packed together. Pressure difference between this low, which is a very deep low. That booger is at 982 millibar in North Dakota, Minnesota on Friday, versus a high pressure center, which is very strong at 1024 millibar. The pressure difference between this low and that high is what's going to cause all these winds in here. But it's going to be a warm wind because on Friday, we're going to warm it back into the 60s, maybe getting close to 70, while they're freezing up here in the Great Lakes with snow. I'm telling you. And look at this. It's Friday the 13th. Next Friday is Friday the 13th. Dun dun. Ooh. Oh, I'm just trying to give you another thing to worry about. Those of you that are very suspicious and, a little edgy. Okay, here we go into late Friday into Saturday. The cold air stays north. It tries to work its way a little further south, but then it retreats. Here we go into Saturday, next Sunday. Oh, now next Monday, the 16th, take a look at this. That's another hefty storm. If it's that strong at 994 millibars, moving through the Great Lakes, this could be another severe weather threat by Monday the 16th. But that's a long, long way off. I'm just showing you that we're now getting into a pattern that is going to be more active than it has been of late. Just be aware of that. All I want you to do is be aware of it and be prepared for it. If you're prepared for it when it comes, you're cool and you're ready for the next one. And you're prepared and you're cool. You're calm, you're collective. You got it. That's what I want from you. You got your weather radios. Hopefully, if you have a weather radio, you took my advice and you changed the batteries in those yesterday when you changed the clocks. That way, you don't have to worry about when the power goes off, when these storms come in, your weather radio is going to keep working. But if you don't change the batteries and they're dead, or you've not plugged in your weather radio and it's just been running off of battery juice and it's dead, it's no use. It's no use to you. Okay, here's the blender. How about 77 tomorrow? Yeah. 80? Yeah. On Tuesday before the storms come, Tuesday night, 78 Wednesday with the storms. Possible severe storms here in the 270 and surrounding areas. But look at this cliffhanger right here. 78, oh boy. Whee! 54 next Thursday, this coming Thursday. 54. What? 78 to 54? Oh. But yeah, but you know what? That 54, pretty close to where we're supposed to be for a high temperature this time of year. We're supposed to be at like 57, 58. We won't be too far off of that. It's going to be like what just this weekend. Kind of like that, except I think these storms are going to be more potent and more active than the ones we saw yesterday, when we thought we were going to have severe weather and then really nothing happened. This time, I think we could have something. We don't stay in the 50s. We quickly come back into the 60s and the 70s by next weekend. But then look at what happens right after that. Now, you talk chilly. Look at this chilly weather. Middle of March, upper 40s to low 50s, and lows in the 30s. Now look at that cliff. Look, whew, 75 to 52. Woo! That's a big jump. Backwards, down. Chilly. Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. I warned you. I'm just letting you know. Okay, we got a lot of comments, a lot of questions. I don't want to go too long. Let me get our sponsor, R&R Controls, in here with a word from them because, hey, they know. Boy, do they know that especially this time of the year. And we dealt with this back at the winter storm with the snow and ice, power outages. And I just mentioned that. With these active storms coming in, power outages is going to be a real thing. It's nothing you can avoid, really, unless you have one of those generators, a Generac, R&R Controls, with the number one name in generators for your home, for your business. Now, can they get one if you call them tomorrow? Can they get one installed before the next storm comes in, Tuesday, Wednesday? Probably not, but you can call them and get on the list and have them at least, if they're not, if they're, and I know they stay busy and they have a lot of people doing this, but there's a lot of people since the winter storm that now say they want a generator, and for good reason. The winter storm knocked out their power, and now here we go into spring storm season, and they don't want to be left in the dark again. Businesses are doing the same thing because they want to keep rolling. They want to keep making money. Anytime without power is downtime, and downtime is no money that costs money. You see what I mean? But if you had a generator, you could keep going. Nothing gets ruined. The line doesn't stop. People can keep working. So call R&R and let them talk to you about when they can come out and do something for you. And R&R is looking at expanding because this has been so popular and so many people have called them, and a lot of them from this podcast saying, hey, I want to talk to you about generators. All right. Call them 270-777-2024. Easy number to remember. Or if you can't remember the number, go to their website, rnrcontrols.com, rnrhvac.com, 270-777-2024. Because with R&R Controls, you will never be without. Now, let's get to you guys and see what you're saying. Here's Jake. Bad weather coming on Tuesday and Wednesday. Yes, sir, you got it. Carrie, where can we get the weather radio where it can be programmed? Let me tell you. Any local Ace hardware store. Ace Hardware. Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks. It used to be a long time ago. Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, man. But then they just couldn't say. Now it's folks, for obvious reasons. But anyway, Ace Hardware, they're all over the place. Most any county seat around Southern Kentucky and the 270 has an Ace Hardware, pretty much everywhere. Go in there, and many of their staff, especially the managers of each store, have been trained on how to program those weather radios. The same weather radios that I've been talking about for years. The Midland WR120s. Great radio, reliable. They can show you how to program it. If not, two things you can do. One, you can go online and just Google program weather radio, Midland weather radio. And there are videos to show you step by step how to program it. It's not hard anymore. You don't have to put in all the individual codes. There used to be a 7-digit code that you had to put in for every county you wanted to be warned for. You don't have to do that anymore. Now it's just select Kentucky, select your county, and you're done. Easy peasy. There's not much programming to them now unless you want something specific beyond that. Now, I've been in conversation with Ace Hardware about restarting the in-store weather radio programming that I have done for, what, 20 years, maybe 25? We're going to get that going again, hopefully soon. So stand by. Yep. All right. Yes, Greg, you are correct. Butler County had weather radios for county residents already programmed. Yep. A lot of people came in and programmed them. That was a big deal for Butler County. Metcalfe County did that years ago. And I was part of programming those radios for Metcalfe County that they handed out for free. A lot of you that are in Metcalfe County still have your weather radios from, I forget how many years ago that was. When the Wolf Creek Dam down at Lake Cumberland was about to breach, the FEMA came in and said, we need, I forgot how many thousand, it was over 10,000 radios that had to be programmed for everybody downstream from Lake Cumberland. And I was part of that. So I've programmed a weather radio or two. I think I could do it in my sleep, beep, 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 beep. Just get one. If you don't have one, get one. Yeah. All right. So Carrie was like, where can we? Yep. Ace Hardware. Ace Hardware. And the other place where you can go to get one program, bring it to News 40. Bring it to the TV station during the day, regular business hours. If you bring it to the TV station Monday through Friday, I will program it. I will program it. I want you to be safe. I don't want you going through these storms not knowing if your weather radio works. We'll do that. All right. Scott, need more snow. Scott, what are you? What are you, crazy? Come on, dude. Terry, when did the flooding start last year? Well, we had two flooding events. One was in February, but the big one was in April. The flooding in April of last year was the big one. Not saying that's going to happen this year, but something else to watch for. Danny, it's that time of year where you see weather like this. Yes, sir. You are correct. Let's see. Terry, if it has your attention, it sure will have mine. Yeah, I hear you. I know. Thank you. Marla, would this be a large snow if there was cold weather in place? Just a thought. Well, yeah. I mean, we could pick up an inch of rain, maybe more than that. If it turns into more of a heavy rain event than a severe weather event, then we could be looking at a couple of inches of rain or more with that system Tuesday into Wednesday. Let's see. Chris Gaskell. Justified anger, not a temper tantrum. Thank you. You get me. I like that. Justified anger, not a temper. Oh, I don't know that you would want to see me throw a temper tantrum. I have, haven't I? Yeah. She said, oh, yeah. She knows. She doesn't want to be on camera. She knows, though. Boy, some of the stories that my wife could tell you past 43 years, she's still here. Let's see. Amiable Mimi. What a name. What a handle. Amiable Mimi. Hello, Chris. We turn to you when we want the straight forecast. Well, I appreciate that. Amiable Mimi. Let's see. What else here? I'm looking for something specific. Richard. My wife and I We're just talking this week about how we both used to be people persons, but people sure ruined that. You got this. Keep it up. Bless your heart, Richard. Appreciate you very much. People person. Whew, with all the stuff that's going on, man, it's just, you got the Iran war going on. Now, that alone is hitting people's pocketbooks. And then you get every political this and political that, and just hate and hate and hate and hate. Everything is hate, 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 hate. And I just, sometimes I'm like you. I just turn it off. But you know what? I'm in the business. I can't turn it off. It's hard. Sometimes it gets hard. I am in the broadcast business, and it didn't used to be like this, but now it is. And sometimes it makes me just, that's why sometimes you'll hear me talking about, or you'll see on my social media pages, that I just have to get away, take road trips with my buddy, Dino, DW, up in Glasgow. And I just have to get away. Or with my wife, we just let's just go somewhere. I got to turn it off. And I do. I turn it off. I don't turn on the TV. I may turn on the radio for music, but that's it. If I hear news or anything else, I just got to get away from it. Because it's just getting more than I think most of us can handle. I really do. And that's bothersome. It really is bothersome, because you feel like you can't do anything about it. All you can do is pray. And boy, I've been praying a lot lately. And God's been hearing me rant and rave and get angry. And yes, I do get, look, God's not going to go, oh, you've hurt my feelings. You've disrespected me. No, look, God doesn't care about that. He cares about my heart. He cares about your heart. He cares about loving you for who you are, but bringing you into a place of where you can have some peace and love and forgiveness and grace and mercy. Now, I don't want to get into preaching, but man, if I didn't have that, you would see a real different Chris Allen, and it would be a Chris Allen that you do not want to see. If I didn't have him right here, it would not be good. God bless y'all. Have a great evening. I'll see you in the morning. I'll be there. I'll be there at News 40. I'll see you later.